GingerGM.
Okay, so, well, let's start off with a puzzle, and I'm going to readjust the board now because, as you can see, it is a bit cut off. And while I do that, I'm just going to put this scene on here so you can't see the puzzle, because I want to see who gets the solutions first. And of course, don't use a computer. These are just little puzzles we're going to play along with. We're going to discuss them a little bit. If you guys can't, oh, where have you gone there? No, I have to do this again. If you guys are struggling with them, don't worry. They're just little puzzles. You might not be able to solve them, but have your best shot. And the first one is black to play. And what is black's best move? So I could say to win, but in this case I'm going to say black to play. And what is black's best move? So white has just moved the knight into this square, giving check to the king. So where should you move your king? So a little question for you there. Okay, and what is that? Oh, did you like the little screen? That was a little BBC screen with me and Charlie the chess cat that was made by Charlie. So you can't take on A2 if you're in check, can you? Potless flower, I'm afraid. And the same for Boris. I did mention you are in check, and you can't give your opponent check when you are in check. So calm down, calm down. Okay, so well, I tried to trick you there a little bit by taking you up the wrong road, but I think most of you got the answer to this one. Like I say, some of them are going to be quite easy. If you struggle to solve them, don't worry. I mean, I know we have a range of players who watch these streams, and even if you've just started playing chess, hopefully you'll see the points of some of these puzzles. Puzzles are a great way to improve your chess. By doing puzzles, you can spot patterns. You can get used to how certain things work in certain orders. So puzzles is a great way to go. So okay, so in this position you're in check, but does anyone know the name of the checkmate that's coming up? It actually has a name. What is the name of the checkmate? And I think it is a useful puzzle, this one. I'm with Mary Hatman on this. What's the name of the checkmate? Now, certain checkmates have certain names. I mean, it's not too important that you know the name, to be honest. It's not that important, you know, but it's maybe you know, if you're a sort of I don't know, a chess, you want to know your knowledge and you might want to like use it in other things, it's kind of handy to know. Well done, yeah, well done everyone who has. And who was the first to say the name? Can I see Yidit 98? It's the Anastasia checkmate, what we're going to see. And this is a checkmate where basically, and this is the reason names can be useful, it's the patterns that are associated to the names. And all you have to do in chess is get used to patterns, try to remember patterns, try to spot patterns in games, and be able to use those patterns in an interactive way to improve your game. That's the best way to get better at chess. And when you see that a knight is on this square, controlling these two squares, stopping your opponent's king from sort of moving, and there's an open file towards it, then this checkmate is the Anastasia checkmate, and it is a very common checkmate. And why is it called the Anastasia checkmate? Well, it's a rook, and normally a rook and knight that do the checkmating, and it's got its name from a German novel written by Johann Jakob Wilhelm Heinz. And let's just test my German here. It was Anastasia und das Schachspiel, meaning Anastasia. Does this mean Anastasia and the chess game? I think that's what it means in German. Not that I know any German, but okay, there you go. A little bit of useless information for you. So the idea is not to move the king. I did try to trick you there, but actually to get rid of the knight that is attacking your king. So queen takes c7, sacrificing your queen, and now white has to take that queen because at the moment white's a lot of pieces down. And now we see the Anastasia checkmate. The queen is no longer guarding a8, and this is a very nice checkmate. Now we go rook takes a2 check, forcing the king to capture, and now rook to a8. And as we can see, this is going to be checkmate. Look how useful the knight is here. The knight controls these two squares, meaning that the white king can't escape, and the white king is trapped on the a file. Okay, you can block it, but then it's going to be checkmate. So there you go. That is the checkmate. And we go. Okay, so well done. That's a little one to warm us up there. I think that's a reasonably easy one. Let's move on to another one now. Now the next one's a little bit harder. Let me just get the puzzle up. Oh, we'll get rid of that. Anyone remember the BBC days? That should bring you back to it. Now the next one, and most of these, do you have easier puzzles? Well, I mean, like I said, I'm gonna make them reasonably challenging today. The reason I'm gonna make the puzzles challenging, this one's white to play. What's white's best ideas is even if you can't solve them, even if you're struggling to solve the puzzles, then it can still give you a I don't know, it can, you know, if you're struggling, once they're shown to you, hopefully you'll still get the pattern. And even if we're going to work our way through them, so even if you're finding them hard, unsolvable, hopefully next time you look at these similar puzzles, you might have a better chance at solving them, because we're going to work our way through. Okay, so let's have a look at the chat. This one is white to play. What is white's best move? Okay, and have a look at the other options there, Martin, as well. What else can black play? You might have the right idea, and you might have the right idea there, Martin, of course, but try to add some other variations to your way of thinking. Now, when we look at a position, I mean, this is the same way we should be thinking during a game. Excuse me. And we should be thinking, you know, what are the most important things about the position? And when you're looking at puzzles, we know there's a solution here. In a real game, you wouldn't know that, but you'd hopefully be able to understand that there might be a breakthrough by looking at certain things that are going on with the position. So, for example, here, it should be clear that the black king is in a pretty miserable position. I mean, it's trapped in the middle of the board. So that's one thing. Another thing is we're white. Our pieces are very, very good. And by the way, if you're trying to give a line, don't just try to give one move. Try to give a couple of moves, as Martin did. You see Martin, Merry Hatman, has gone bishop takes e6. He's given more than one move, because these puzzles are generally going to be more than one move deep. So, and, you know, you need to try to analyze and give a line which is not just one move. One move doesn't really count, unless it's a bloody good move, you know. But I mean, you might have the first right move, but try to follow it through a little bit with some analysis. And here, okay, what other things are going on? Well, you can see that white's pieces are really well placed. These two rooks, fantastic. We have a bishop sort of doing quite a good job. The bishop here is strong, and the queen is good. So white's pieces are very well placed. And there's a couple of good moves here. I mean, a simple move here, which is probably quite good, is bishop takes a8. That's not a bad move because you win points. But there's an even better idea here. And, well done to Vad as well. That's the key thing, is the variation with king f7. Blitz key, that's not actually checkmate because of king d5. But I like the way you're thinking. Well done, well done. So Jasp is coming up with a line. But I think Jasp, your line, I don't have to take the bishop, do I? After bishop takes e6, there's other options, and it's, so, you know, it's a couple of things. And don't worry about if you're not as good on Drew. Don't worry. I mean, it's tough, you know. And these guys, they've probably been watching more of my streams. That's why they're so good. That's why they're so good. That is the reason, of course. They're watching more of my streams. That's the thing. That's why they're doing so well. But okay, and I mean, the way to break through here is if your opponent's king is in the middle and you've got pieces lined up against it, you should be looking at forcing ideas. So what I mean by that is, it's ideas that rip apart the protection around your opponent's king, because rather than winning points, checkmate is the end of the game. And to checkmate, you need to take away the protection of your opponent's king. And at the moment, these three pawns here are, it's the protection. This is like the bodyguards. Without these three pawns, the black king would be totally exposed to an attack. So we should be thinking at how to get rid of these free pawns. Now in a game situation, I would be thinking, right, okay, there should be something here because my piece is good. And I'd be looking at the most violent move, and the most violent move is bishop takes e6, which is the right first move, but you need to be able to follow it up correctly. And in this position, black really has to take that bishop now because you've left the rook here, and there's going to be a big check if the bishop moves. So we now, in a game situation, you have to work all this out before playing this move. But after taking on e6, we should be using what's called, and I keep talking about this, as a process of elimination. So first of all, that bishop has to be taken. There's two ways of doing that. And one way of doing that is d takes e6. Why would that be a bad move? Let's just work through this little by little. Why would that be a bad move? We'll come to rook takes e6 later on. I don't think rook takes e6 is as forcing for a start. It might be good as well, but it's not as forcing. This one I like better. I think it's a more forcing move. d7. So if black takes with this pawn, we have d7 check, forking the king and the queen. And here, well, queen takes d7. You can see how good the rooks are in this position. We can now go queen takes there, and that is checkmate. So we can't do that. So again, going back to the position, this is how you'd be thinking. You'd be thinking, if I take there, right, I can eliminate my opponent's defensive move, d takes e6. So the only move I need to be thinking of is f takes e6. And I should be thinking, oh, okay, after f takes e6, let's see if we can bust it open with rook takes e6. And again, trying to use this thing and try to work it out before you play the moves, basically. This is the way to go. Now, why not rook takes e6? I see someone recommended this. Well, I think with this move, well, first of all, what if I go d takes? Is that possible? Is that possible for a start? You have just given up a whole rook. I don't know. There might be a strong move here, but I can't see it. Maybe bishop takes a8 now, but this is not going to checkmate. Checkmate. The other idea is if you take here, bishop takes here, I can move my rook or something. Again, it's still not completely checkmate. And you've lost your rook in this case. So I prefer bishop takes because, as we're going to see, after f takes, which is the only option, it's more forcing. Because now we can go rook takes e6. And again, it was all about getting rid of these free pawns. Now, the same thing happens if black takes with a pawn. d7 is going to win because you can see we're going to win the queen with a big attack, checkmating probably. So king f7 is really the only move here. And now you've got to try to work out. White can now force checkmate in, I think, 3 or 4 moves. 4 or maybe four moves. So can anyone work out how to force checkmate now? So this is like the second part of the puzzle. And as you get better at chess, you'll be able to, like, work all this out from the start position. It's quite hard to do that, obviously, work everything out from the start position, unless you train your mind and visualization. But and again, one move here is not going to count. You need to try to give me a variation, a line. Don't just give me one move. One move means nothing to me unless it's checkmate. One move, anyone can guess one move. Okay, and what if king d5 there, Papa? You're on the right wavelength, but again, you haven't solved this one. No one has solved this yet. Well, that's not checkmate, Jas, because a king takes d6 in that line you've given. So, not quite checkmate. You're close, but you're not quite there. Well, then king c6, Papa, so you're wrong there as well. E Hatipo, you got the right idea, but then black's king can move to this square in that variation. Remember, the black king wants to run away like that. So, well, Plocrux in that line again, the king will go to c6 and not into c4. c4 is far too risky. So, anyone else? I'm just seeing who's going to get this. Okay, Lava Round, I think, is probably the first person to solve this. It's not quite checkmate, Lava Round, but you're the first person I can see in the chat that it looks like has found the checkmate here. Got the right idea. Now, okay, in this position, again, you should be looking at the most violent moves, checks and captures. You should be looking at ways to pull your opponent's king into the open. And by playing queen to f4, we are forcing our opponent's next move. And he has to take this rook. Now, we're giving up a lot of points here So if we're not checkmating, we are now going to lose the game. So we need to make sure we have calculated this before we play the line. But the best way to do it now is to go check, not there, check here, and that brings the king into, it only has one square, and you can see how exposed the king is. Now, as a rule, I have, when you're trying to checkmate your opponent's king, you know, normally the normal rule is you need 3 pieces to do that. And here we have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking that king. So we should be able to force checkmate with 3 pieces. That is the general rule. 3 pieces, especially when the queen's involved, is normally checkmate. Of course, you can checkmate with less than 3 pieces, but 3 pieces against the king should be checkmate. And now in this position, if black is given a chance, you've always got to think how your opponent's going to get away. Black would try to run this way with his king, you know, like a sort of like a rat. The rat needs to run away, and we want to stop that from happening. So if we did something like this check, the king would run away. We can give another check, the king can run away. And with queen c6 coming, you're losing as white because you're a lot of pieces down. You can't let that king run away. So the only way to do that is by playing queen e4 check. And this looks a bit weird because we're allowing the king to take here, but it's most important to try to see where that king was trying to run to and stop it going there. And now after king takes d6, this king is now trapped because look, the bishop stops it moving to these 2 squares and the queen stops it moving to any of the other squares. So the king is now trapped by the queen and bishop. So all we have to do is go rook d1 and it's checkmate next move. So, you know, bishop d3, rook takes d3, checkmate. So, okay, so well done, those of you who got that puzzle. And again, even if you can't work out all the puzzle, I'll try to break them down. If you're a beginner, you might at least hopefully be able to see the checkmate and sort of work out how some of these things work. So that was as hard as hell from the start. They're probably going to get harder, I'm afraid, but you know, but okay, but that it's good to have hard puzzles. You need to test yourself. I mean, that's, you know, no point having it easy, is there? Okay, next one is in this position, and here, if we just have a look at the position, it should be clear to see that white is in a horrendous situation because look, the bishop is trapped there. Black is trapping that bishop. Black is getting ready to take that one probably. This, you know, black has a lot of extra pawns, like 2 extra pawns, and this looks really bad. I mean, even rook takes h3 might be coming and pawn takes h3. I mean, it's really horrible. But you've got to be aware of hidden resources in chess. And another thing is, you never see like a champion like Hikaru, Nakamura, and other players. They are so, they never give up. And they are so resilient and they fight until the last move. They don't get downhearted at the board. They, you know, Magnus, if you see Magnus Carlsen playing, you know, do you see him downhearted at the board? After the game you do, but he never gives up and he always tries to find resources. And this is what you've got to be aware of. You've got to, you know, they say that to beat a Grandmaster, you know, for someone who's not a Grandmaster, you have to beat them in the opening, the middle game and ending. You know, getting a winning position is often not enough because they will fight. So in this position, it is black to move, and black has many good moves here, but black now played rook takes b5, and this was a very bad mistake because now what should white play? And give me a little variation here. So what should white play here? This was a really bad move because you know, it was actually a game between two ladies, and she should have been aware of well, the next idea, because black is trying to win this game clearly with white's position being so bad. And now what is the right idea? And give me some variations. Again, don't just give me sacks and rooks. That means nothing. You've got to give some actual lines, please. Actual lines. Okay, so we have some ideas here. I think Mary Hatman is the first person to get this correct. Hello to Charlie Story in the chat. The Ripper's wondering if he has time to go to Starbucks. Yeah, of course you do. I'm streaming for another hour and a half about that, so you can go and get a Starbucks if you want. Bring me back one, will you please? You know, I could do was I haven't had a coffee today. I could do with a coffee, would be nice. Bring me back a Starbucks, please. Bring one over here. So Merry Hatman has the right idea. There is maybe another way of doing it, but let's just show the simplest way. So okay, so the hidden resource here is white can now play for stalemate because white is now 3 pawns down. Black has these 3 extra pawns. The white bishop is trapped, so white should be going for stalemate. And the best way to do this is to play stalemate. You have to get rid of these 2 rooks. Now imagine if these 2 rooks are removed from the board and it's your move, we're white. White can't move anything. It's stalemate. It's actually a draw. So by playing rook to g6 check, you are now going to get rid of both of your rooks. And this is a very nice hidden resource. It's a tough one. Again, this is quite a tough one, I think, actually. Does rook takes g4 work? Well, why risk it? Go for the simplest way. And it probably doesn't work, that one. I don't know. This is check. Check is the most forcing action you can do in chess. So you should be looking for checks in these puzzles. This is a bit of a clue. And now here, after black takes that rook, we have to get rid of the other rook. Now here, if we go rook takes g4, this would be a mistake because black can now go rook takes g4 and the bishop on h3 can move. So something like bishop here and now rook to b1 and it's going to be checkmate. So you have to be careful still in this position, but the way you do check, and it's quite pretty this, is rook f6 check. And as soon as that rook is taken, it's white's move, but white has found this hidden resource. And what can white move now? White can't move anything, and that means it is a draw because white is not in check. There's nothing attacking the king. Can black get out of this? Well, if black goes here, all that white does is just check on these 4 squares. So for example, rook f5 check, king here check, king here check, king here check, you know, blah blah blah. And it's a weird position because as soon as black takes that rook, it's a draw. It's a draw. So yeah, keep the checks close. I think Aldo summed that up well, because if we go back to the original position, a couple of other people, it might still work this, have said rook to f7 check. It might still work this, but it's a bit more complicated because you're allowing the black king to come all the way over here. And the little second puzzle I'm going to ask you here, and why allow the black king all that way to escape? Previously, okay, thank you for subscribing, PPRTS. If you want to support this stream and you want me to do more streams, then subscribe. I can't keep these streams going without subscribers, without support. So so do subscribe if you like this free material, or you go to the GingerGM shop and buy a DVD. Otherwise I won't be able to do this. So there's only these squares the king can move to in that last line, but in this line now we want to get rid of this rook. So rook f6 check. The king has a lot more squares, and there's one little trick here. I'm just gonna try. Look at the crazy rook. Indeed, it is a crazy rook. It's trying to sacrifice itself. Please take me. Please take me. Please take me, rook. Thank you, TLS. That's very kind of you to subscribe. Look at it. Please take me. Please take me. Check. Please take me. Please take me. Take me. And take me. Take me. And here again, now black can take in 3 different ways, but it's still stalemate if you take that one. But after king a8, what do you play now as white? This is the next question. You made it a lot harder here, but I only found this solution when I was doing a bit of research on it. But what is the right move now, and why? Why? You have 2 checks. Can't you just go rook a6 check? Or should you go rook b8 check? But what is wrong with one of these checks? What is wrong with them? The mad rook. The mad rook. What is wrong with rook a6 check then? A lot of people are saying rook b8. Why? What is wrong to keep your rook on this file, to keep checking here? Why? Because bishop a7 blocks. Well done, J. Matthew. It's really weird. If you go check here, which I probably want to do because I want to keep the force field there, actually black can now all of a sudden go bishop a7, and black might be winning. Because if you take the bishop, I can now take, and the king has this square to move to. You can go king g1, and of course this is now checkmate. Bishop here checkmate, rook here checkmate. Sorry. So you have to still be a little bit careful here. The best move is to go rook b8 check, because this keeps a draw. Again, if you ever take the rook, stalemate, it's a draw. And if the king comes up, you check like this. Check like this. You see? It's amazing, I think. As soon as the rook is taken, it's a draw. And okay, if you keep playing like this, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a draw. You can just keep going like this forever. Weird little position. The kamikaze rook puzzle, I think we can call that one. Oh my god, here we go again. What happened to your red hair? Why do people always ask this? It's bizarre. Thank you, man. You know that pisses me off. It's still there, honestly. It's just a dark room, and I've probably got product on it, and my beard is redder. I mean, I'm sure you just did that to wind me up. Okay. I mean, hair changes as well. Actually, my dad's hair went black, so it's quite possible that is something. Okay, right, so let's move on to another one. Why are people so obsessed with hair colour and beard colour rather than the actual chess? I mean, you wouldn't say that about skin colour, would you? You'd get in trouble for that. I remember this a couple of years ago. There was this Christmas card by Tesco's. By the way, I'll put the next puzzle on. The next one is easier. The next one is easier. It's white to play and win. Okay, so everyone have a go at this. What's white's best move here? And yeah, there was this Christmas card at Tesco's. Tesco's is like a supermarket we have. I don't know if in America what that would be. It'd be Walmart probably. And they did this. It was a picture of a kid with red hair, and he was sitting on Santa's legs, and all it had next to it was "Even Santa loves redheads." I think something like that. And I was just thinking that's quite controversial because obviously someone got me the card, probably Blair. And the thing was, like, if you change around the word red with, like, I don't know, like black or Asian or something like that, imagine that. Only even Santa loves Asian people. You'd have an outroar. It'd be completely outrageous. So how can you get away with red? It's weird. But okay, we get used to it. Right, this was from a game the other day. This was actually a game, two English players playing. One of them, I think, Charlie Nettleton. Nice guy. And what is the way to win here? Now, this is a bit easier. Now, the first thing you should note about this position is that when you have a pawn on f6, and again, it's learning patterns. So even if you can't see the answer, the more patterns you get to grips with, the better chances you'll have of recognizing puzzles and being a better player. So in this position, this pawn, when it's like this around the opposing king, it's very dangerous, and you always try to find a way to get the queen to this square g7. So you always want to try to get your queen into this square. This is a well-known idea. And also here, black wants to go queen c5 and swap off queens. If it's black's move, black would probably go queen to c5, because his king is in more danger. When your king's in more danger, you want to get the queens off the board. So what is the winning idea here? The winning idea, well, someone's saying I should hide the Twitch chat. I can't actually do that. If you don't want to see the Twitch chat, then don't look at it. I think it's the easiest way. You don't have to look at the chat. I mean, you can put another put something over it. You can close it down at your end if you don't want to see the chat. When someone gives the solution, it might give it away. I can't do anything about that at my end, I'm afraid. But you know, you guys can hide the chat if you want to. It can't be that hard to do until you've hide it in. Well, I'll hide it. This chat here. Oh, okay. Well, I can get rid of this box if you want me to. Okay, that's a good point. I can get rid of that then. If you want me to get rid of that, there you go. I'll get rid of that, and then you don't have to look at the chat at your end. We'll do that for the puzzles then, because you can see the chat anyway. Maybe that's one thing. And then you can hide the chat at your end. And what I might recommend, if you're getting annoyed by other people giving the solution, hide the chat, and as soon as you solve the puzzle, to think you solved it, put the chat back on so you can see, or just have the chat. You know how to, you know what you want to do. You don't need me telling you if you want the chat on or not. Okay, so there you go. I've done that. I've got rid of the solution there. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay, right. So here the solution is a move that tries to get the queen into g7. So logically, we need to get rid of this bishop. We need to get rid of that one out of the way. And another thing is we want to try to stop queen c5. So bishop f8, which is quite a nice looking move, does both of those things. And bishop f8 is a nice move because now our queen is just coming in to g7. There's nothing black can do. Rook takes, queen h6. Black has one check, king here, and there's no way eventually that queen g7 will be stopped. It's quite a funny puzzle actually, because if you think in this position, if this bishop was not on the board, so just imagine that bishop was on the board, and white could play queen h6 here. How could black defend against queen h6 in this position? So imagine it's white's move and the bishop wasn't there and white went queen h6. How could black defend against the checkmate here? Black can actually defend here. Yes, black would be able to go queen c5 and queen back to f8. So you're actually, by playing this move, you're putting one of your opponent's pieces on a square they don't want to put it on. A blocker. And now the queen can't get back to f8. So it's a nice winning idea. What about g5 and bishop g6? Well, does that help? Let's have a look. Maybe a decent attempt. But don't we just bring our queen into h6 anyway? So, for example, check, bishop g6. And again, this is the key square. And I don't think there's any way to go there. Did I show this the other day, or am I going crazy? I might have showed it the other day. I think I probably did. Did I? I might have done. I might have showed this the other day. It's possible. Well, you should better solve it quickly then if I showed it the other day. I did a chess-based show with some of these puzzles, but I did create them about a week and a half ago. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
We like that a lot.
Super Genius, thank you very much for donation. Any donation is most appreciated. Oh, it's maybe on YouTube. Maybe that's where you saw it on the. Yeah, you might have seen it on the video on YouTube. That's it, Aldo. Well done. Oh, on YouTube. Yeah, that was it. It was on YouTube. I did this on the blindfold game when I was talking about visualization and how you can try and improve your visualization. I did it there. Again, thank you for the donation, Super Genius. Very kind. So yeah, that's probably where you saw it. Okay, now the next one is a bit harder. Did I put this one on YouTube? I don't think so. It's white to play and win. So this one is harder, guys. I'm warning you. This was a game in the Ukraine Championships, I think, between two Ukrainian Grandmasters. I think Korobov was the black pieces on the receiving end of this. And I think white now played a very nice idea here. Simon, do you plan to make other chessable content after the Dutch? Depends how the Dutch sells, to be honest. If the Dutch makes some money, then I'll probably do more. If it doesn't make any money, then I probably won't bother, because it was a lot of work. So again, I need to, being a professional chess player, I mean, I've got to make a living doing chess. You know, my main way I make a living really is when people do buy stuff like the Chessable courses or DVDs. But it's, you know, it's not easy, so I need to. If it depends how it sells. Let's just leave it. You know, I don't know. If it sells well, yeah, of course. Okay, so this one. What is this one? Yeah, my brain. Yeah, Aldo. I know all about brain glitches. Happens all the time. So it's white to play and win here. Let's see if anyone can solve this without me giving any clues. Well, I don't think that works, Martin. Does it? Can't you go pawn takes queen? Can't you go pawn takes queen after queen takes h6, Martin? Lava round, well done. Very impressive there. And also to Vab Harv Chess, or Vabe Harv, and yeah, well done. And also to Charlie Story Sniper Chess and Freddy the F Pawn. That's a good name. Freddy the F Pawn. Got King H7, Martin. King H7. So this, okay, so a lot of you got the solution. I'll try not to say it in case people are still trying to work this out. But if I had this position in a game, we know it's a puzzle here, so we know there's a big hit. But if I had this position in a game, again, I'd be thinking there might be a breakthrough move. And these are the kind of things you've got to notice when you're playing competitive games. You've got to suddenly realise that there might be a big blow and you need to look for, you know, moves you might not normally look for. And in order to realise positions like that, you should, you know, it's just how, again, your opponent's king and your piece is ready. And here, white has these three pieces all on the G file. that looks really dangerous. And again, you might be thinking as white here, okay, come on a minute, 3 pieces attacking there, I must have something. And then you've also got a bishop lined up, so that's another attacking piece. And a rule I do have when I'm looking for attacking moves is I want to look at my pieces that are the most active. So here I've really highlighted my attacking pieces. When I'm attacking, this is what I do. These pieces in red are the ones really attacking. I mean, the knight over here is not really attacking the black king, is it? It's nowhere near the black king. The bishop here is not really attacking the black king. It's not really doing anything. So the way I'd solve this, I'd look at the pieces in red and I would think, can I force a win with these pieces? And if I can't force a win, then I would look at bringing in my reinforcements, which are the pieces in blue. So can I force a win? Well, queen takes h6 is the kind of idea which might work, but it doesn't here. Pawn takes, rook g8 check, HL275. Thank you for subscribing. And again, if you want to support this show, please do get your subscription in. And here it's nearly checkmate because the knight can't take it because the knight is pinned, but black's king can move to this square. And here black is probably winning because you've just lost your queen. You don't have anything else. Black is defending g7, so it's not winning. So, but this is the kind of thing you might spot, and I think, you know, the people who solved this, very well done. You've suddenly realized, okay, I'm going to show you the solution now, by the way, everyone, is, okay, well, in that last line, if I can try to use these 2 pieces, maybe I can checkmate. So I would be looking at my reinforcements, and the key thing here is to open up the bishop to this square. So by playing knight takes d5, this is a fantastic move. Really hard move to spot. You're overloading black's defenses, and you're also freeing up the bishop to come to this square. So after pawn takes knight, we'll look at this move first. We can now force checkmate. How do we force checkmate? Well, we go queen takes h6 now. Beautiful move. And in the same line I just showed, there is a big difference. We go check, you can't take it, the knight is pinned, so you can't move into check. And after this one, we now bring in another reinforcement because there's no black pawn here guarding that square. And that bishop doesn't just come in with a check, that bishop comes in with a checkmate. Okay, so that's the nice idea behind knight takes d5. So let's just have a look at this line here. Now, after queen takes h6, when you're trying to solve these variations, you can't just stop there. You have to look at other defensive moves. Look at all your opponent's defensive moves before you play knight takes d5. You should not be playing this sacrifice until you've looked at all the defensive moves, because you're sacrificing. You need to make sure it works. And in this position, after king here, what is the best way for white to continue now? So I'm also trying to solve this as we go. So what is the best way for white to win here? Because you're now a piece down. So how should white play this position? Maybe there's more than one good move here. Yeah, I like your idea here, Martin. There's probably more than one good move here. I'm trying to think of the most forcing. If I was in this position, again, when I'm trying to work out problems like this, I look at my moves attacking, I look at checks first, then I look at captures, and then I look at creating threats. So for that reason, the first move I'd look at would be rook takes here, because it's a capture and a check, so it's at the top. A move such as bishop e6 would be a little bit lower down in my vision, because it creates a threat. It might be a very good move, but I wouldn't be looking at it first. And you've got to sometimes prioritize when you're trying to solve positions what to look at first. So I would be looking at this move, check. And I think here, if the king moves, this is going to be checkmate. So black needs to take here. And then again here, I think, what is the right move to play now? And again, I'm looking at checks. And as Aldo's pointed out, very nice, Aldo, now this check, because we're trying to distract the queen away from g7. So for example, if queen takes e6, that is checkmate. And what else can black play? Well, if he goes king here, how can you checkmate now? This is something hopefully you can all try to solve. White to play and force checkmate now. And again, you can do this through checks. So keep looking at the checks. Checks are forcing. because your opponent has to do something with a check. Don't just give me one move, Papa. Give me a little line. Give me a little line, not just one move. You might have the right first move, but what are you going to do after knight to g8, for example? Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. Stop me singing. Okay, so what is the way to win here? White to play. Well done, Mary. That is correct. I guess you were typing pretty quick there. The way to win is check here. And now let's say knight here. And again, I'm looking for checks. And this is the key square now. Check, rook takes, and then here checkmate. And this is a very nice checkmate. Very tough puzzle, I think, that one. Take everything. I like that. Just whip them all off the board. And it's, yeah, I mean, this is just crushing. So again, so what you'd have to do in the original position, this is why chess is so hard. You have to improve these skills we're showing here. You should be looking at this knight takes d5. So you may have seen it, but you have to work through all the possibilities, and you have to make sure you're winning against everything. So for example, we haven't even looked at knight takes here now. So what's the easiest way to win against knight takes d5 here? And this is a bit easier. This is a bit easier. White to play and win here. How would you do it here? How would white win in this position? White to play and win. This is a bit easier. Again, look for checks. Look for the most forcing moves. Don't just give me one move. Give me at least two, please. Give me at least two moves here. Give me at least two moves. I want more than one move. Everyone's saying one move at the moment. Some of you might find this very easy, but some of you probably still find this very hard. I say it's easier, but they're not easy, these puzzles. So if you can't solve them, don't worry. Don't get too disheartened. You know, you know, it's just about learning, isn't it? Well done. Well, there you go, Mary. Mary said it. Aldo said it, and everyone else who's got the right line. The best way, I feel, is to go queen takes h6 check. We're using this pin. So here the pawn can't take the queen. And after this one, now, if you can't work out whether we can take here, one little simple tip I have for you is count how many pieces of yours are attacking that square. So 1, the queen, 2, the bishop, 3, the rook, 4, the rook before. So we have 4. How many of your opponents defending? 1, 2, 3. If you've got more attacking than your opponent has defending, you can normally safely take on that square. And in this case, you can see that it will be checkmate, basically. Okay, let's move on to another puzzle now. Okay, now this one was a game played in the Russian Championships. Black to play and win. And this was a game between Peter Svidler with the white pieces. Okay, I'll just ask Aldo's question first. Sorry, after knight takes d5, what about bishop takes e5? Knight takes queen, I think, Aldo. Probably you just have to back out now and just take the queen, Aldo, I think. It might be the best defense, actually. You're right. You know, because you can check and you can play here. And this position is winning for white because white's got the extra queen for 2 pieces. But, you know, the game goes on here. The game goes on. Maybe a good move now. I'm just thinking about pawn here. Trying to do a similar trick. Okay, but this is winning, of course, Aldo. But it's maybe the best defense. But, I mean, you're a queen up here as white. So, of course, you're winning. But black can fight on a little bit. Okay, so the next one is the Svidler game, and it's black to play and win here. And remember, well, Omar has the right idea, so does Cuddleless Monkey, but you're maybe not thinking of white's best defense. So again, this was Adriakin was black against Peter Svidler. Peter Svidler's won, I think he's won the Russian Championship 7 or 8 times, isn't he? So impressive. And in this position, as black, I'd be looking at ways to force the win. Why? What are the most important factors about this position? Well, first of all of black's pieces are attacking or pointing towards the white king. You have 4 pieces. And remember, we need to have that magic number of normally 3 pieces attacking the lone king to guarantee checkmate. But also, this bishop is so strong, so we just got to try to force a way through here. Now, Blitz 2-1-2-1 has exactly the right idea, and the move he's suggesting is very good. And he's suggesting g3. This is probably a winning move, and the point is that when white takes it, you take on g3 with check, and the queen comes down, and you give checkmate. So g3 is a good move, but it's not a check. And if we're trying to stick with our, well, I don't know, we could say philosophy of what we should be looking at first in positions where we're trying to attack, we should be looking at checks first. And here, has anyone solved this? There is a way to get the white king running into the open, and you just got to keep looking at checks followed by checks followed by checks. Try to chase this king into death. So let me just see. I may have missed a solution earlier, but let me just see. I don't. Did you say? Okay, so I don't think anyone's got this yet, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. We can't play rook e7 lava rounds in that position, so I'm not sure what you mean. Rook e7 is impossible there, but you got the right idea clearly. So let's have a look. Rook e7. The rook e7's impossible move. There's no rook e7 lava round. So okay, let me have a look if anyone else has got this. Well, you can't go king e6 because in that position, Ali, because king e6 is impossible. There's a king on e5. Oh, king e7 by Merry Hatman threatening d6 is interesting, but maybe white can play rook d1 there, Merry, defending the d6 square. So it's a good idea, but maybe not. Ah, Blair is in the chat. Hello, Blair. How are you doing today, Blair? Are you doing well? Blair is Barbary Macure, if anyone's wondering. Oh, well done. Actually, you see, Blair's found the solution. Is Blair really the first person to find the solution? How are you doing today, Blair? Are you doing well? I was singing your praises earlier. I'm joking. Okay, so the winning idea is, and I don't see anyone else saying this, again, one move means absolutely nothing. If you're just suggesting one move, I don't say that is a solution at all. Even if you're giving only a couple of moves. To solve these puzzles, I'm going to give it to the people who go all the way to checkmate. That's how you solve these puzzles. Because in a real game, you couldn't just make it up as you go along. Because the first move is queen takes h2 check. And this is giving up your queen. So if you are now not checkmating, you will lose the game. So if you played this move in a real game and you had not calculated it, you'd be an absolute fool. And I've done that before. And so you can't be lazy. You can't be lazy. And the thing about this puzzle, why it is tough, as Mary is saying, it's the quiet move later on. So for example, king takes here. Rook takes here, check. Now, again, you use the process of elimination. Where does the king go? If the king goes to g1, rook h1 is a very easy checkmate to see. So to the people who I'm giving credit for doing this is king g3, check here. And again, these are very forcing moves. King here, we force the white king to e5. And now the next move is key. The next move is key. You might have got this far, but if you still can't work out what the right move is here, and you did not see this before suggesting it, you haven't solved the question. And it might become easier now. Any forcing move here does not work, because the white king may be able to run over here. You know, why not? You're a queen up. So, for example, d6, I just take there, and my king has lots of spaces to run away to. White is winning. White's completely winning. So the winning move is the quiet move. It's not king e7, threatening d6, because I think white can play rook d1 and defend d6. I think white is hanging on here. It's better than that. It's a move that creates 2 threats. King e7 only creates 1 threat, d6. That's only 1 threat. The move rook g6 creates 2 threats. So it's much superior. It threatens d6, checkmate. And it also threatens rook to e6, checkmate. And there's no way that white can defend against both of these moves. So this is the real answer. That is why I'm giving credit only to Blair for the first person to solve this. Now, it might still work with rook g6 after king e7. You're correct there, Martin, but why not play it straight away? Why not play it immediately? This is clearly a superior way of achieving the checkmate. Right, let's go to another one. It's a nice, yeah, nice. I mean, beautiful way to beat Peter Svidler. Yeah, imagine if you did this against Peter Svidler. I mean, I would be wetting myself ecstatically, you know. I think in this situation. Okay, so let's move to another puzzle, and we're now going to go to. Okay, I'm going to pick. Okay, we're going to go to one which I really liked because it was a unique pattern for me. And sorry, someone's got a question about that last one. What happens if the queen's not taken? Well, if the queen's not taken here and you go king f1, good question. The answer is by Whaler is correct. He gets checkmated. Correct. But what would you do here? What's the best move here? Let's ask that. Yeah, well done, Lava Round. And it was. Again, you don't want your opponent's king to run away. And this time the white king wants to go to e2. So all we have to do here, we don't go for the check now. Checks are not always good. You know, they're only good if they go and you can force checkmate. This way, it's not clear at all. What you do play, you just go bishop f3. And now it's unstoppable checkmate on h1 pretty, you know, at some point. Okay, now the next one, I really like this puzzle. It's black to play, and this comes in two parts. So this is a tough puzzle. I'll switch the board around so we can see it from the black side. I like watching it from the side of the attacker, because when you see the pattern next time, you might recognize how the pieces are fitting together. And this is one I really like. Now, I think it's a really cool puzzle, this one. And the first move may be obvious, but it's the second part, like in the last puzzle, which is the key. So what is the best way for black to try to bust through the position here? Now, black does have a lot of pieces near the white king, but this bishop is guarding b2 very well. So it's not clear how you break through. And this is a hard one. So what should black play here? Not just the first move. I want to have a couple of more moves. So try to, again, look for forcing moves. You don't have any checks. Look for captures to try to break through to the white king. But this one is not at the top of the list. It's not a check catcher. You know, later on, it's actually more of a threat you're trying to create that's unstoppable. So this is, no one's got this yet. It's a tough one. Is this brilliant or a load of rubbish? What, the stream or the puzzle? The stream is obviously brilliant. How can you even question the stream? Is the puzzle good? Well, I say obvious. The first move is not that obvious, Martin. It's only obvious if you see the second part of it, I should say. It's not obvious. Okay, well done, Lava Round. You've got the right idea, but you haven't got it in the right way. Because if queen e1 there, I would not play queen b2 check. I'd go queen takes c2 and bishop takes queen, for example. But you've got the right idea. You've got the right idea. So well done. I think you're the first person I can see who's found the right idea, Lava Round. You're obviously a very strong player, Lava Round. Are you a member of chess.com? Maybe we'll have to play a long play game in a second or two, you know, because you're clearly a good player. And people are doing well in the chat. I'd like to reward by maybe giving a game against. Okay, so I'm going to give you all a go. Is the sacrifice rubbish? No, it's not. What black actually played in the game was brilliant. Very brilliant idea. So, well, I'm going to show you the idea. Well, the first move here, and again, if I had this position in the game, I'd like to think I'd find the solution by thinking in the following way. I'd be thinking, well, my opponent's king does not have much protection. It only has the bishop. I have 3 pieces attacking, plus maybe a rook, plus maybe a pawn. So I have some secondary attacking pieces. So I should be trying to break through. Where is my opponent weak? He's very weak on the dart squares. So the dart squares are the squares I might want to bust through on. So I'd be looking at trying to break down my opponent's defenses and coming through the dart squares. But this puzzle is very hard to solve if you don't see the second idea. The first move is this move, which again I don't think you'd play unless you saw the follow-up. And the idea of this move, I think white really has to take that one. I mean, anything else, if you move the pawn, you've lost a very important pawn, and I can also get rid of your dart square bishop. I'm bound to be winning here. For example, I'd probably play a2 and bishop c3, and this is clearly winning for black. So after knight takes a2, white has to take this one, and now we see the real point behind black's idea, and this is why I love this puzzle. We now play, and the only move I think is now queen to c3. Now this is where the second part of the puzzle comes in. Let's say white plays bishop to f3. So those of you who did not solve it in the first place, it's now black to play and win. How does black now force checkmate? And if you think about the last puzzle we looked at, the Adriaking one, it's a similar actual pattern to that one. And that's what you've got to do. If you want to improve at chess, you've got to recognize patterns, be able to navigate your way in when you recognize positions, patterns. Chess is all about patterns, and when you can calculate through them, this is how you get better. So what is the winning idea here? And of course, oh, you want of course you want queen a1, Charlie, because you're a lunatic. Queen a1 nearly works. It's nearly a lovely idea, but it doesn't quite work because we'll show. There's only one way. There's only one way to win here. Can anyone see it? Look for checks. Look for checks. It nearly works. Yes, queen b2. Queen b2 is the move. If you go queen a1, it doesn't quite work here, because after this check, white can just come back to this square. Of course, king here allows pawn here checkmate, but you've got to assume your opponent's going to play the best defensive moves. And if you try to go a2 first, threatening this check, well, just bishop b2, and white's clearly winning. But the winning idea is the beautiful idea of bishop f, let's say this, queen b2, check. And this is what you had to see before you did the first sacrifice, giving up your queen. That has to be taken, and now you can see where our secondary pieces come into attack. It's all about the dark squares. Pawn takes bishop, check. King takes pawn, and now bishop here, check. And you can see it's this same bishop pattern, this time with a rook, as in the last puzzle, which does the job. The king has to go to one of these two squares, and now we come down with checkmate. So it's a very nice one. It's mate on the dark squares. That is basically it. Checkmate on the dark squares. Very, very nice checkmate pattern. And there's not much. Let's go back to the start of this. So, you know, knight takes a2. It's a hard one, this. Queen c3. There's not much that can be done to stop this. In the actual game, someone said queen e1, but now you lose control of this square. So I go queen takes c2 check. I can win your queen next move, worst case scenario. Well, the other thing you can do, and what was played in the game, is queen d2. But now, this is maybe a better defense, but after queen b2 check, bishop takes b2, pawn takes, king takes here, bishop takes queen. White is not necessarily getting checkmated as quickly, but he still has exactly the same problems on the dark squares. Bishop is coming here, this pawn is supporting that, open rook, it's of course winning. Now the game continued b4, trying to give the king an escape square. But after rook a4, with the idea rook takes pawn and the other rook coming here, white now gave up because it's going to be checkmate, or he's going to be losing a rook. Rook a1, bishop here. So this is the end of the game. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, Wayla. Tough puzzles, I mean, I've got a couple more, but I think I'd like to play a long play game now, and where I can explain thoughts. And we'll try to get some more puzzles in after the long play game, depending how long, because we're just over halfway through the show now. And I would like to play a long play game where I explain my thoughts. So this is, you know, I'm trying to do an educational stream today, and the idea when I play these long play games, if you see my YouTube channel, there's loads on there. I try to fit, you know, I'm the Grandmaster, and I try to tell you everything I'm thinking, or most things I'm thinking. Don't want to scare you too much. In the idea you might gain some tips. So I'm going to say the person who did very well at solving these puzzles, Lava Round, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a first digs at playing me. So what is your Lava Round? What is your chess.com handle? What is your handle on chess.com? Please make sure you're also on chess.com, Lava Round, and you change your settings. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to change my settings, live chess. And then I'm going to change it. You can't see it, but I'm going to change it so I can play anyone. So Lava Round, what is your chess.com handle? Please make sure you're logged into chess.com. I'm only going to send you one challenge. If you're not up for the game, then I will challenge someone else. So Zorbos, I'm going to play Zorbos in a long play game because he did very well at solving these puzzles live around. He's obviously a good player. You should jump out the stream as well. What does that mean? Should jump out of the stream. Oh, this is another puzzle I have prepared, but we'll come back to that one. Should jump out the stream. I'm not really sure. Okay. Oh yes. Oh yeah. What you mean is that Lava Round should not listen. You have to mute the stream, Lava Round. You're playing a Grandmaster, but you have to mute the stream. So you know, so you can't hear what tips I'm giving. Okay. So Lava Round, I'm going to challenge you to a game now, and hopefully you are ready to play. Are you logged in? Zorbos. Zorbos, I'm going to challenge you to 15 plus 10. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready, Zorbos? So what opening should I play? So someone's saying D4 on the Dutch. You are. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, I've gone rated as well, Zorbos. Okay, we can play rated. And it really doesn't matter. I don't know how you know, strong my opponent is, but I know he's a pretty decent player from how he was solving the puzzles in the chat. 1200 basically means he probably hasn't played any longer time limit games. So stop trying to get me to play E5, Aldo. No, I don't like E5. What do you want me to play? Guys, you've got a couple of... I'm going to have a little look. So we've got 2 Sicilians. Okay, maybe if lots of people say E5. We've got 3 Frenches. Okay, I've got a bit more time. 3 Frenches, 4 Frenches, 1 Perk. We've got another French. I think I'm going to go for the black line, Sicilian. You can't just keep saying E5 and I hope you're going to trick me, Aldo. Dutch, I can't play the Dutch against E4. It looks like a French to me. You can't keep typing E5, Aldo. It doesn't work like that. Okay, I'm gonna play the French defense. That's what it seems most people. I mean, okay, I'll try to play a different opening next time, but I don't get many French defenses. Now, I don't know how unless you can find out how strong my opponent is. Okay, so you can see my opponent's bullet rating is 2333 and his blitz rating is 2065. Got very good bullet rating, so obviously a good player and someone I shouldn't take too lightly. So I'm going to play D5, and this is the normal French defense. Probably the opening I know best against E4. I do, you know, run a company, as you probably all know, GingerGM. If you go to GingerGM.com, we sell instructional DVDs to get you better at chess, and we've done 2 DVDs on the French defense, but I am updating that. Hopefully in the next couple of months I will do that. Now in those DVDs I recommended the winner where bishop b4, but recently I've started to play the classical with knight to f6. This is the classical French. My opponent's now going bishop g5, and I'm going to play, you know, there's a couple of moves here. This is pinning my knight. One move is to take on e4. That's a move I play very often. And the other move is to play bishop e7. And again, there's always one person there. This guy is only 1200. Well, you know, you probably weren't listening, were you? I just showed you his blitz rating. He hasn't played any games, and it doesn't matter. I'm doing the thoughts of a Grandmaster anyway. It's what I'm thinking of, and I hope you're going to get some tips. So first of all, I'm playing an opening I know. This is a main line, and this is all very normal. I mean, you've got to know your opening. You've got to know your first 10 moves, whether you're playing with white or black. He's gone for this sacrificial line with the idea that if I take the pawn on g5, my opponent gets the open h-file to attack along. So he can attack me on the open h-file. And one thing, you know, another thing I do try to do in the openings myself, I try to play positions I enjoy playing. I don't enjoy defending, so there's no way in the world I'm going to take that pawn and try to defend. Instead, I'm going to go c5. I'm going to play a little line, an interesting little line, which I've spoken about before. The Notre Dame burning attack. Oh, I don't know about that. Can we say that? Yeah, we can. The burning church attack. Now, this move is theory still, and theory now normally says, believe it or not, that you should play king takes bishop here, because this move, the move I'm going to play, is actually considered to be a mistake. This is a new move, but you may have seen, I've talked about this before, and I the first time I saw this move was I was playing a tournament in Switzerland, the Swiss Open Championships, and on the board next to me with the black pieces was Victor the Terrible. Victor Korchnoi was sitting next to me playing, and I was watching his game, and he played this queen takes e7 move. And I was watching the game and I thought, hang on a minute, that's meant to be a bad move. I'm not going to say why it's a bad move, but we see. This is meant to be the refutation of it. And this idea is now my opponent's threatening a check here, and he's also threatening a check here. So most chess books give this position as losing for black. But I saw Victor the Terrible in this position just play castles kingside. And the idea is I give up the rook on a8, so I give up 5 points, but I try to get good compensation in the center and against my opponent's king. So it's a very risky variation, but we're going to see. Now, okay, so he has dived in. Now, I can't actually, this is as far as I can remember recently. Now, I believe that there's a couple of ways to play, but I'm going to take here first. And I did, yeah, this is the line I played in Title Tuesday match, Blair. That's completely correct against a strong player, but I haven't done much work on it. So, okay, so now one thing I want to be trying to do is trap this knight later on, because then I'm only the exchange down. My opponent's probably going to try to get this knight out this way. Kind of makes sense. And I can't remember what I played in the Title Tuesday game now. I can't. My preparation's gone a bit wrong. So I'm just going to think naturally. I mean, I'm thinking knight c6 is very normal. Then my opponent might go knight c7. Knight takes e5 is very normal because I stopped this queen takes there. I think another move I seem to remember, queen to b4 check is okay. But then I remember Nigel Short once played queen b4 check. He's the only other strong player who's played this. But then after queen to d2, I think after taking here, white goes rook d1. It's okay for white. So I think the move that I came to the conclusion, I like the idea of playing f6 here. I think this was my little new move. This was the new move I thought of. Happy Easter Day to you as well, Magister 602. So I think this is another weird option. The weird option is I want to get my rook into the attack on the f-file. And given a chance, I'd love to get these 4 pawns in the center of the board where my opponent has no pawns. Is it worth a rook? No. But is it worth the exchange if I can trap that knight? Yes, it probably is. So that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to try to get some counterplay. Now, if my opponent takes on this square, then I'll play knight c6 because I gain time attacking his queen. If my opponent takes on this square, I will probably take with my knight because my knight wants to come to e4. Imagine my knight getting to that square. That looks pretty good where it attacks f2. So all I'm thinking is if I can get my knight bang bang into there, great, because then I will have an attack against f2, and also I'll be covering d2 square, so I can get my queen to b4 with check, and that will start an attack there as well. So this is a very interesting opening. And I know the computer doesn't necessarily like this. The computer thinks white's better in these lines, but I think it's really unclear. And I kind of think practically it's very interesting position. This my opponent from Portugal, I feel. Yeah, Portugal, okay. White is a whole rook up. Well done. Well done for counting there. That is true. He is a rook up. But I think there's a bit of compensation here. And look, if Korchnoi plays something, Korchnoi was, I know a lot of people say, the strongest player ever to not become world champion. And also, Victor Korchnoi was a legend in the French defense. He was one of the best French defense players ever. He had many games against Karpov for the world championships. With in the French defense where he held his own, you know, he held his own against Karpov. He got good positions even in quite a lot of them. Okay, so by the way, also anyone who's just tuned in, I am playing against Ben Feingold next Friday. That's going to be a big stream, so make sure you're down to support me for that. Korchnoi, he has an intimidating name. Well, I guess Korchnoi is a little bit. It's a cool name, isn't it? He was a tough guy, Korchnoi. I mean, I think he was brought up in Stalingrad, wasn't it? When during some horrible war situations over there, and he had to get food vouchers from dead bodies, I think people were saying, to survive. He was a tough guy. He was a really tough guy. How to write his name? What, Korchnoi? You can't write Ben Feigl game. I think I moo-botted that. I don't know why. I've got to change that. I'll change that back soon. Boo, says Tom. Well, that's true. But I'll change that back. I've got to change that back now so you can mention his name. Adnet Soul is saying, smack Feingold around, Simon. I'll try. I'll certainly try. I will certainly try. I'll try to smack him about next Friday. We'll give it a go. Okay, so my opponent is still thinking here. So it's a very tough position for both of us. It's a very complicated position, this one. And so I've told you roughly my ideas. I'm not going to overthink it too much. Really, what I'm trying to do here is get control of the center, get chances to attack my opponent's king, and win the knight on a8, because then I'll only be the exchange down, but I'll have a fantastic center. So I do want to trap this knight on a8 if I can. It looks like this knight's going to be very hard to get out. I mean, getting out this way, it takes a lot of moves to do that. So I don't think he'll get out this way. So I want to maybe move this knight as well, because then I cover c7 and he can't get out. So one way I can trap the knight is something like knight c5 or knight e5. First of all, to cover c7 to stop him coming out. Then when I've moved my knight, going b6, bishop b7, and just take that knight. So that's how I'm planning to trap it. And in the meantime, just keep a big central position for me here. You like shouting, Aldo? I think you're doing a funny thing with your caps lock, Aldo. I've noticed you like doing this. That knight is going to be a prisoner for a while. I hope so. I hope so. But of course, white should also be okay here. And again, what I've done in the opening here, and this is quite important, I think the lesson to learn so far, is I've picked an opening or a position that suits my style. So what I mean by that is I've gone for a position that I enjoy playing because it's my style, and that is an attacking position, unbalanced, where I have the chances to checkmate more than my opponent. Okay, if I don't checkmate, I might lose because I have less material, but I like these positions, so I'm in control because I've controlled how to get into this position. You know, if my opponent had got the attack in first, I'd be feeling uncomfortable, but that's not happened. So when you're picking openings, pick openings that suit your style. Pick openings that you can get into, which you enjoy playing. Has Ajamata ever made a video on your games? I don't know, man. I don't watch all his videos, I have to say. He's great. He's doing great things at chess, Ajamata. Massive YouTube following, so all well done to him, but I don't think so. I doubt it. Why would he do a video on me when there's plenty more better players in the world? Killinix is saying you think he did. Don't know. Not that I'm aware of, but maybe. Oh, he did one. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, I do remember. I did play one game where I beat a Grandmaster by sacrificing my queen, and the Grandmaster is unfortunately dead now. Kengiz from Lithuania, very nice guy, and I think he did a video on that maybe. I think it was actually, I don't think it was in the French, but it might have been on something else, you know. How's my chessball course on the... it's coming along, but I need to work on it this weekend when I want to be out in the sun on Easter, so I don't know. It's coming along. It's coming along. Okay, anyway, let's look at the moves then. I'll try to catch up. I'll try to catch up about the chat later. Okay, so he's developed his piece. That seems like an okay idea. And now I think my most logical move is surely to go pawn takes pawn here, because I've got a very nice center. Yes, I'm a rook down, but then that pawn has ideas of coming to e4. Will he try to get his knight out then? Well, I can always go a6 if he tries to get his knight out. Pawn to a6, because if I play... Oh, don't move that pawn, don't move that pawn. Oh, that would be bad. Because if I go a6, that stops his knight coming here. So I think I'm just going to take this pawn back. I think this is okay. Just take the pawn back. And I want to, you know, even if I don't get my rook back, you know, funnily enough, if I get my knight to c6 and my pawns start moving through the center, I might have enough compensation for a whole rook. These pawns, I've got 2 extra central pawns. So I'm 3 points down, but these pawns are looking very dangerous for me. And you get a lot of sacrifices in the French defense where this happens. And these pawns just come rolling down the middle of the board. Now, I can't really play e4 yet because he'll go knight takes d4. So I don't want to rush that move. I think my next plan will be to develop and try to trap this knight. So I think to get my piece out, knight c6, maybe b6, bishop b7, try to trap this knight, something like that. I'd love to play e4 tactically. I mean, maybe I can go e4, knight takes d4, e5. Because I've got enough pawns, why not give one of them back? Why not give them back? And it is funny when, yeah, in the opening, white had 2 pawns here. It's a good point, Merry Hatman, that white, these 2 pawns in red were white pawns, if you look, around here. Look, there were white pawns if we go back to move 5. And now, in this position, they're black pawns. You know, you kind of think, what the hell happened there? What the hell happened there? Okay. It is a nice center. It's a really weird, unclear position. We'll have a look at this on the computer afterwards. Okay, let's have a look at your chat. He did he might have done a game I did in the French defense. I lost a game to Hikaru Nakamura in the French defense, but that would have been me losing. I'm just wondering if Grandmaster's ever done where I won. Maybe. Well, thanks AdNetSol for the kind comments. I killed my opponent. He's thinking. The only GMs Simon can beat are dead ones. That's a bit harsh. Shouldn't speak of the dead like that. And I like the way you put the little wink after that, just to know that you're trying not to offend me too much, only slightly. You're doing a subtle insult there. Okay, right. So he's gone queen d2. So obviously, when your opponent plays a move, you've got to be thinking, what's his idea? And his idea is clearly to try to get his king castled over here. So I'd love to play e4, but he will play knight takes here. I can look at this. E4, knight takes d4, e5, attacking his knight. If I can win that knight, it'd be good. So where does that knight go? Maybe over here? He's attacking. I don't really need to play that. I'm going to play this position very calmly. I'm not really worried about his knight coming here because I can go a6, I'm hoping. And I can't move this knight anyway because I don't want to lose that pawn. So I'm just going to develop a piece. I say that, then I'm okay. Yeah, let's develop this piece. Let's bring the knight out. Simple move. Bring the knight out. I mean, I think Aldo, the chess.com analysis engine, is pretty good. I mean, it's Stockfish something, so it's not a bad analysis engine, you know. And I really do love this. If you're a premium member or diamond member, what it is, I don't know, on chess.com, you can analyze your game afterwards, which we're going to do, and it gives you sort of hints of where you went wrong, which I really like. I think it's a great thing, even though they probably can improve it. They're in early days of developing it. It's a really cool thing. Right, any other questions? Someone's saying, is Magnus streaming now? I don't think he's streaming, is he? I wouldn't have thought he's streaming, Magnus. He might be. Who knows? I never leave Simon for the world champ. Very kind. Magnus's moves are... Well, Magnus is Magnus. I mean, it's great watching the world champion play. I mean, it is. Magnus is bloody good. He's bloody... He's a love... I mean, I love the way... I mean, he's a fantastic world champion. If there were a GingerGM engine, I would use that over the Stockfish all the time. Very, very kind. Code Raven. You might not win many games, but you probably have a lot of fun. And this is, I mean, this is typical, like, you know, typical. Okay, so he's castle, right? Now, what am I doing now? So I could go b6, bishop b7, and just try to win this knight. It's not really running away that knight, though, is it? I mean, I'm not in a rush to win it. I really want to play this move. This is like the one move I'd like to play. Thank you for subscribing. Damn Bassam Bam, if I said that. Oh, AdNet Soul. Oh, that was AdNet. Oh, you're a star. Oh, dude, that's so kind of you. AdNet Soul. That's very kind of you to donate subscriptions to people in the chat. Thanks, man. That is really kind of you. Thank you. And obviously that helps me greatly, and it also gives back to the community here. So thank you, man. That is really nice. That's really appreciated. Really, really, really appreciated. So thank you for everyone who gave a subscription too. That is very nice of you. Very nice of you. Cool. That helps me. That helps me do my stuff. Very nice. Okay, so I mean, what am I going to do here? What I've got, I'd love to play this move, but I'm never going to play that and stop knight takes d4. So the other things I can do, I can try to get my knight into e4 as well. Motorbriss, thank you for... Oh, it's probably still the same subscribing thing, but thank you for adding that, so that's most appreciated. So I'm basically thinking here, what am I doing? Well, I either want to try to go e4, which I can't play. I don't really want to lose that pawn. Or I go knight c5 because my knight gets a better square. It might come in there, and I might just go bishop d7 and rook takes here. Or I'm going b6 and bishop b7 and just try and trap it slowly. The problem is, if I go b6, he might go knight c7. And then if I go a6 trying to stop that, he might go knight takes a6 because that pawn's guarding my a6 pawn. So his knight might be able to come out. So I think instead I will stick to this move, which looks like a decent move to play. And I even can consider some move like d3 at the right moment. d3, and if bishop takes e4, and if pawn takes, he opens up his king. So I'm thinking this is quite an interesting sacrificial idea. But I've already given up a rook. I better be careful I don't sacrifice too much. That would be, you know, there is a limit to the sacrifices that I can do, you know. Black centre looks huge. Well, this is it. It's a trade-off. The centre is huge, but I'm a rook down. So my plan, though, I told you my plan a while back, and I think I can still be happy because I'm sticking to my plan. And my plan was really to try to keep my big centre and then win this knight. So I think maybe next move I'll go b6 and bishop b7. Maybe. I can also try bishop d7, try to win it like that. These are the moves I'm thinking of. Bishop there, his knight can come out, but then I can maybe even get my rook to the c line. Because if I get my rook to the c line, ideas with d3 come more important, you know. I mean, the rook on the f file I do like because rook's on half open lines. A half open line is a line where you don't have any pawns but your opponent does. That's where a rook should be, or an open line. But I also like lining my pieces up against my opponent's kings. So, you know, so putting a rook on c8 against the king also looks quite tempting. It's very interesting. You know what I'm most interesting about this game? I mean, I don't mind if I lose. You know, I'd rather win, obviously, you know, and I want to put up a good game. But the most interesting thing I'm really interested in is seeing what the computer's going to say. Because I'm sure the computer will say this is better for white, but it's really, really interesting. I don't know, really unclear. Okay, so what other plans do I have? Well, I mean, Blitz is saying why not knight to e4? I could play knight to e4, but I don't. Is there really a point behind that move? I just attack the queen moves away. What do I do next? And also that blocks my e pawn. I don't see how that helps me. It's a one move threat. And I think my knight, I prefer my knight here. Let's have a look at what my opponent played. Ben's even got time to come along to the stream. Shouldn't you be preparing for either me or your matches over? Where are you? Foxwoods at the moment, Ben. Hello, Ben. Hello, Ben. Are you ready, Ben, for our next Friday encounter? I think that's the real Ben Feingold. Please stand up. Is that the real Ben Feingold? Please stand up. Please stand up. Maybe. Anyway, if you don't know, I am playing Ben. If you don't know, where have you been? I am playing Ben next Friday in another Rivals match. So we're going to try to get some revenge there. But I believe Ben is playing in Foxwoods at the moment. I think. Something like that, is he? So... I have so few points in Foxwoods I can't prepare. Oh dear. Well, like I did say in the tweet, Ben, keep it up. But I don't want you to, like, you know. Oh, no draws. Okay. So you're in, so basically what you're saying, Ben, is you're in terrible form at the moment. I'm liking it. No, I don't want you to do badly at all. But you're in terrible. I want you to do badly against me. That's what I want. Okay. I was losing before you were born. Probably you were a loser before I was born. I do agree, Ben. You probably were. I think I'm sure you were. Okay. Well, it'll be a fun match. So if you don't know, I'm playing Ben Feingold, who, you know, massive streamer and YouTuber, and been around before I was born, next Friday. So that will be interesting. I think it's a 3-hour match. I'm not even sure of what the exact time limits are, but it's going to be a real battle. Anyway, I better get back to this game now and think about what to do. So, okay, so first of all, let's have a look what my opponent's doing. I'm not really scared of Harry for once. He's trying to go maybe here, but then I can just go G6. It's not the end of the world, you know. I don't have to worry about that one. Maybe his main idea is to try to get the rook out and play like this. Could be interesting. I mean, I want to play a nice simple plan here of just trying to win the knight or something. So bishop d7 looks normal, but then he goes knight c7, I'm assuming. Can I then play rook c8? And if he goes knight b5, his knight has got kind of out of dodge. Don't really want to allow that one. Oh, oh, thank you for the subscription to Ben. NetSoul, very kind again. So the other moves like b6 now, and I think I will then win that. Should I just do that? Should I win the knight very simply? That looks okay. I mean, e4 might be playable, but I don't want to lose the pawn on d4. And I kind of like the feeling behind d3, but after pawn takes, I don't see a good continuation. So, Wesley, I'm going to play b6. I'm going to keep it simple. Let's just do b6. And we're going to play bishop b7, I think. Just try to get that knight back. Yeah, thank you for the sub there. That was kind of everyone. He's gifted 6 subs. He's a generous man. That's what we like to see. Generosity, especially when it's coming this way. No, I mean, I think... oh, but by the way, Ben, if you're still around, I was going to propose... I think I'm going to... Okay, this is what I've sort of aimed to do. For the stream next... oh, another one's coming. Okay, you are around. Well, I was going to propose... I'm probably going to... I was probably going to try to raise some money for an animal charity during our stream. I mean, obviously, it's up to you if you want to join in as well. You might not want to, which I understand. But I was going to say any money donated during the course of the match against Ben Feingold... have I just blundered my pawn on e5? That's a bit silly. I was going to donate some animal charity, so maybe that's something I can consider. We consider doing. That was okay. So he's just played here. God, I'm playing. Okay, so now the issue is he can take here and he can take on e5, but I suppose I will always then have knight e4 and rook takes f2 to counter that. So actually, it's not as bad as I thought. So now the move knight to e4 is looking a lot more tempting. I kind of think I'm going to give up on e4 ideas. So why do I want to do that? Because then if he moves his knight on f3, at least I am hitting f2. So it kind of makes more sense to me now, to put the knight on this square. Maybe my queen can also come to c5. I think I'm just going to play this move. It can't be a bad move here. It can't be a bad move. So we're going to dive in to knight e4. And my opponent's playing well, though. I kind of sort of underestimate that one. I wanted to maybe take back on c6 with a pawn. So he has gone back. So what options do we now have? Okay, so I mean, is there a knight b4? Is that a funky move? Knight b4, a3, knight a2 check, king b1, knight c3 check, takes, and I take the bishop. So knight b4 looks quite funky here. And I'm also a3, knight takes c2 and queen c5 check. But remember, I am a lot of pieces down. I am a lot of pieces down here. So I've got to be a little bit careful. There's a lot of pieces dropping. I mean, if I go bishop b7, he will probably take my knight, bishop takes, and knight takes e5. And he attacks my bishop on that square. It's probably not that bad, so I go bishop takes a8. I'm going to exchange down. Oh, if he does take there, I've also got queen g5. Aha! Ah, that makes more... I missed that one, guys. So I'm not so worried. Okay, I mean, Grandmaster see everything anyway, so it's more blind luck. But if my opponent does ever take here, I'm just noticing I have queen g5 check, and I'll win that one. So that makes a massive difference. So I think I'm just going to stick to my plan going bishop b7, because then if he takes there, I've got this little trick of coming here. And I just want to complete my development. Okay, so my opponent has quickly moved backwards to this square, probably realizing that one did not work. And that knight is not going anywhere. Do I want to allow this capture? Well, I probably can, but what other options do I have here then? what other options do we have? I mean, I could do something weird like rook f4 to overguard the pawn. I've got to move a little bit quicker now, unfortunately. I could go rook f4, but it looks a little bit artificial, this move. I mean, is he really threatening to take, and go queen takes e4? Is that really a threat? It might be. I don't really want to lose my pawns. I'm kind of falling in love with these guys. These guys are lovely. These guys are lovely. Oh, well, thank you, Ben, for gifting Karen subscription. So cheers to Karen and to Ben. Thank you. And I hope you finish the tournament off well, Ben. Anyway, just play badly against me. Play well in Foxwood. Save your worst games for next Friday, please. Next Friday is when we want to see you play terribly. Okay, so he's still not threatening to take this pawn. So why don't I just go knight b4? Well, if I do that, maybe he will take it. I don't know. Knight b4 looks kind of funky. Knight somewhere. Well, knight b4 is the most aggressive, isn't it? And then can I a3? Do I have a good move after a3? So knight b4, a3. Do I have a good move there? I mean, I could go for check here, knight c3. Is that really? Oh, that looks like fun. Let's do it. Let's do this one. This looks like the most fun and aggressive move we can play in the position. And also, I want to keep my pawns together. I don't want him winning these pawns. They look so nice. So if Ben does take there, at least my bishop is guarding that one now. So my bishop is on that one. If my opponent goes knight takes here, I don't know. Maybe he can do this as well. I'm not sure. You know, I can go check, but in this case, his queen will take here. I mean, I probably should take the knight on a8 as well. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's still very unclear position. Very unclear position. Very unclear. It's very unclear. I mean, I'm still a rook down. Don't forget that. I mean, even though my position looks fantastic, a rook is a rook. That's a nice bit of, you know, common sense there. A rook is a rook. There we go. What name don't we mention? Well, I have to change that, don't I, at some point. Okay, right. So I think it's now my opponent wants to take here, but then I'm going to take on f2. So I think it's time to take this guy. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this knight on a8, shall we? Because I think everything else is covered. So let's do it. Let's get rid of this one. This one's annoying me. Let's just take it. It's a piece. We'll take it off the board. For those of you who entered only now, which opening did you had GingerGM? This was, it's quite funny because if you look at the pawns here on e5 and d4, if we go back to move 5, they were white pawns. So this is called switcheroo chess. It's where you swap the colour of the pawns. It was a French defence. And now it's quite a weird little line in the French defence, some sacrificial line. And okay, so it's actually now equal on material if you count the points, which you shouldn't get in the habit of counting points. I don't know any really good players who count points nowadays, but you should have an idea. I mean, you can't be a lot of you know, material down. But I've got a massive centre, and now I'm the only exchange for the rook. So can my opponent take here? Well, let's just have a look at some lines. He has taken there, so I was assuming I could take on f2 against this. So why can't I do that? And so why can't I take there? What am I missing? Has he got some attack against me? Knight g3 going for a hack. Is he gonna do something mad? Okay, let's see. Let's find out. If in doubt, find out. So okay, so he has gone for this and he's going for knight g6, and he's got a check at the end. Okay. Oh, maybe I should have calculated. There I was earlier on saying with these puzzle things we need to calculate, and now I've just realised he has got a rook here coming at the end, and rook takes knight. That's annoying. So that was a very nice tactical idea. Probably. Okay, well I have to take it. If I go here, knight g6, so I've got no choice there. So we have to go here. And the problem I'm just seeing is obviously that this is check, and then he goes rook f1. And he might actually be, well, he's going to be 2 exchanges up. So that's the problem with these sharp games. You play one bad move. My opponent's playing excellently, by the way. He's playing very, very well. And I think I'm going to need to come up with a bit of magic here, but I can't see where the magic is at the moment. Knight takes c2, getting a bit short time as well. Knight takes c2, is that anything? He's playing very well, so very good credit. And I have lost some games at this as well. This is not good, Aldo. This has gone badly wrong. So my knight, I kind of fell hook, line, and sinker. I was a bit lazy there, and that's what happens when you do lazy prep. You're thinking lazy, you just play a move, and you're like, and then you're suddenly like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, I got hit by bishop takes h7. No. So that was lazy of me. I've let down my whole game by one lazy move. Okay, but let's see if we can try to at least put up a fight here. So knight here, I can't takes. Well, I can. Should we try taking on c2? Okay, I'm going to try this one. Let's try this one. It might be one of the better options, but well played to my opponent. I have to say, well played. He's played very well. He played that. This is where things start to go wrong. I think I'm doing all right around here, but after knight takes e5, I should have gone for something else here. But we'll have a look at it with the computer afterwards. The computer will give a very low level of accuracy for this game because of the sacrifice I played earlier on. And here, well, okay, I mean, it's still a little bit messy. If he takes my queen, I take his queen. If he takes my... Okay, so he's taken with check. And my idea here is that I've gained a bit of a tempo, no? So I am... This is still a bit unclear, I think. I'm not sure why he played this way, because I've got the threat against his queen. And if he takes my knight, well, I can come into f5. I'm going to take a rook again. So actually now it's turned around again, I feel. I feel again that I'm probably doing okay here. I mean, at the end of the day, I've got these massive pawns in the center. So if I'm not too much material down, it can't be too shabby. It can't be too shabby. It can't be too bad. So I don't know why he took my rook. I think he should have taken there. But we'll have a look. Maybe I was all right. Maybe I was just hanging on some. Why did he play that? I don't know, Aldo. You have to ask him that one. He should have. I'm pretty sure my opponent should have just taken my knight. But wasn't that a little bit... I mean, he would have got an extra tempo on the game had he done that. Because then I move my queen and then he takes the knight. So I think by doing it this way around, he's lost a whole tempo. Because he could have had this position with the king on c2 already. Which was a bit unclear, I still think. But this one's now... I like it. So we have to calculate. So if he takes my knight, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I have a lot of tempting moves then. It's a pity my bishop can't get to this diagonal. This is a bad piece. So it's still a mess. But if he takes my knight, what am I going to play? Well, this check here looks logical to start. So I think I probably will start with this queen coming into f5, activate the queen. I could also come to c5, but his king comes back to b1. And I don't really want his queen coming back to b1. So let's keep his king in the... King, should I say. Let's keep his king in the opening. Yes, it is a very I mean, the thing is, with these kind of openings, it's very likely one blunder is very, very likely because of the situation on the clock. The times, I mean, and it's so it's so easy to blunder in complex situations. I mean, in unpositional like things. Okay, well now, I kind of like my knight. I have a lot of interesting moves here, like knight. I could start using my pawns. I'll be feeling much more comfortable here if my bishop was on a better square. So if I could get my bishop back in the game. Actually now, I say points is not so important, but we're actually equal on points. So remember, every move we get... What do we get? I think we get another 10 seconds of move. So is it time to try to bring my bishop into the game? Why did he play there? Does he want to come here? I got d3, looks quite tempting as well. Just use my pawns to forget about my bishop. Should we go d3? Let's go d3. I don't need to use my... Let's use my pawns. If I can get e4 in, I'm just going to leave my bishop where it is. And now... Okay, we're going to go e4. Okay, so he's trying to get a blockade. Now, I could take this pawn. There's not anything wrong with that one. Does he get anything on this file? I don't think it's too scary. So I might now take this guy. I think. because my king can always come back to g8. I really should get this bishop in the game now, because now for any endings, the endings are probably going to be quite nice. But he's got a nice blockade, because when you put your pawns on the same colour square as your bishop, pawns are on white squares, it's a bishop, your opponent can quite often blockade them, and that's precisely what my opponent's done here. He's got a nice blockade against my pawns. Now, I don't know, I mean, another move I'd love to play is e5, so I'm thinking I could even go queen e5, sorry, d4, pawn to d4. Okay, so my opponent is activating. Queen e2 is another option. Should we try to get this bishop somewhere a little bit better? Should we do that? I've got an ending with queen here. I don't know what that ending's like. It's a weird ending. How do we assess that? Okay, I've got to play quick. I mean, maybe the ending was worth considering there. I don't know, but I'm just trying to get the bishop a little bit more lively, you know? Lively. And now queen e5 is looking much more tempting. Let's do it. Because I'm hitting this one and I want to go d4. d4. Oh, God, I'm blundering a lot today. Oh, I've got to go here. Because I forgot he had this check. Even though that might not be so bad. But I've got bishop here. Okay, let's play this. Let's keep my calm. I've got bishop here. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Because I've got this check, I've got this check, and I've got my pawns coming down the board. So this should still be... I think this should be very good for me now. But it is a risky position. It is risky. But I think he's in a lot more problems than I mean, his position's a lot worse than me. With my queen about to enter, I might not even need my bishop. My bishop's a good blocker for the time being. So, and he's very short time here. Okay, so he's come back. Now, the problem he may have here is this check. I could go pawn on, but it gives him a check. So let's go here, because his king doesn't have many good squares. And worst case, I can grab another pawn. I threaten the rook, and I threaten some queen e2s. I also have bishop h5 here. Am I mating? I think bishop h5 is game over. Now, I said my bishop might not play a part. It's playing a very big part now, because queen e3 is checkmate. Whoa, interesting game. Interesting. First of all, let's say very well played to Zorbos. Very well played to Zorbos, who played a very good game. He played this amazing tactic, which I did not see on my part. Very foolhardy on my part. He played this brilliant bishop takes h7 check, but then he followed to the continuation he played was not correct. I mean, one thing I would like to say about my play is that I did say earlier, if you want to get better at chess, you never give up. You always got to look for resources. Now here, it'd be very easy to give up and just move my queen, allow him to take the rook, and sort of just resign. I'd be in a lot of trouble. So you've got to try to find hidden resources where you can. And knight takes c2, I think, was a very good try. It confused my opponent. And like I said, to beat a Grandmaster, you often have to beat them 3 times, more than once, more than twice. You have to beat them quite a lot of times. Okay. So we're going to put this on the chess.com computer. Now, I'm going to take this with a pinch of salt, because my whole opening idea, the computer will say, is bad. This idea in the opening of giving up the rook on a8 is quite a romantic way of play. If you go, when I say romantic, the old players of the 1800s, they used to love sacrificing Morphy, these kind of people. Have a rook, go and have a rook, have a rook. So, I love this way of playing. It's a romantic way of playing. The computers do not like it. So just to be warning, we're not going to take the computer's advice entirely seriously, but we will have a look. So let's have a look. So analyze, is this the right one? Yes. Okay, so what's my accuracy? Okay, so my accuracy, I just have to readjust the boards, guys. So let me just do this so you can see what the computer says. Here is the report. Nice comeback win. Oh, thanks, computer. I don't need your okay. So my accuracy 83.2. Okay, and we will keep that little thing up there. And let me just readjust the board so you can see the board without any missing files. Oh, I've just got rid of the wrong one. You eject Williams. Okay, so I'm going to get the board back. I'm very intrigued to see what the computer's going to make of this. Will it think I'm losing the whole way? Probably. And I'm going to bring up what it says so you can see its suggested improvements and the little graph. Let's put that there. And that'll be a good way to finish the show. Okay, so so well done again to Zorbus, my opponent, who played a very good game. Maybe was winning there. Let's have a look. So it started off with the French. We don't need to look at every move as we go. And the new idea, this is just opening theory that you must know. And this is a variation I play often. And I think, guys, if you're looking for a very exciting line against e4, you might not get this variation, of course, but this line in the French defense, which I'm going to do a DVD on, I'm going to do, my next DVD on the French defense will be on an aggressive way to play the French. And you can see here, it's romantic as aggressive. I reckon if you guys are brave enough to try this, you'll get some great results of it as well. Go and check out this line. Okay, so bishop takes e7, and now it gives my next move, you can see, as an inaccuracy, which is not surprising because I know the computer would not like this idea of giving up the rook. But I don't, the main line is actually king takes bishop. I don't like that line. I don't want to move my king. I don't want to move my king. Well, c5 is the main move. c5 is a main move. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're taking the mickey there, but it's a good move in the French defense. You have to play this move. But now king takes as the book move, which I know. But this is the Korchnoi gambit. This idea of giving up the rook. Now again, I think taking on d4 is okay. And you can look at the if you look at the computer's assessment, even though I'm a whole rook down, the computer only gives it as half a pawn advantage. So that means I must have great compensation here. So there's a lot of ways to play this position, and I don't know if f6 is the best move. It says knight takes e5 is the best move, but I remember analysing this f6 move and thinking it was very interesting. So my opponent now played knight to f3, and after here, well, okay, I mean, the computer still thinks white's better, but I do very much like my pawns now. So let's have a look. So, okay, so queen d2, and now knight c6 is an inaccuracy. I mean, that can't be such a bad move. No, you're developing a piece. Castle's queenside is good. Knight c5 is best. It looked like a good move. And now h5 is a mistake. Too slow. Too slow is h5. Well, thank you for buying the London System DVD, Neil Barker. I hope it gives you lots of good successes. Yeah, 0.5 means half a pawn advantage, because basically +1 is a pawn advantage. It's quite weird, you know, how they work it out. Okay, so it's actually now saying here that, okay, well, h5 is a mistake. My next move, b6, is good. Okay, that's good. We can stick with that one, yeah? So, but in actual fact, the other idea which I was going to play of going here and rook here was even better, according to the computer. Now, what was the idea if he goes knight b5? Now I go knight here, and I probably got some attack going like this very computer line. Okay, but b6 is okay, and it was later on it got very, very interesting. So bishop b5. Look at the assessment now. The computer now gives the position as 0.00. Dead draw. Nothing going on here. Nothing going on here. The Jabava London System is £19.99, £19.99, so it'd be a bit more dollars. But it's a 6-hour DVD, so you get very good tuition for your money. It's not bad. Obviously a draw, as Blitz is saying. Yeah, clear draw. Okay, so this one looked natural, but the computer okay, I mean, this can't be bad. I don't believe it. And now here, okay, so now it's not a draw anymore. Bishop d3, mistake. And my next move, I felt my next move might be an error, but I don't know. I mean, what should I have played then? So I went knight b4, which is an error. It says knight back to... Okay, so I just actually moved the knight back now, and I'm better now, because I'm going to win the rook. I'm going to win the knight on a8, and then my pawns can start to come. Okay, that makes quite a lot of sense. Well, don't put people off the DVD, Tom F51. You know, that's I actually want to sell some of these DVDs, you know, as well. Yeah, there is tax to pay on it as well. We have to start, you know, including VAT now, because we have to pay VAT and stuff. But okay, it's a good deal. I mean, go and check out the GingerGM shop. There's loads of good DVDs there that might improve your chess. If you like videos, you like kind of the presenting style that I do. I mean, they're quite serious. I mean, I do lots of different kinds of streams, but they're quite serious DVDs with the aim of getting you better. Okay, so now this was a bad move. Okay, so he went here, And I went bishop takes a8, knight takes e5. My next move was a bad mistake, but I'm actually in trouble here now. So my opponent, I thought he's played a lot. He played a lot. You know, the computer hasn't given much. You know, the computer said he's played badly, but I think he's played very well. Okay, so let's have a look. So knight takes f2. This was a really good move. This should have been an exclamation mark move. And knight g6. And now I'm in serious trouble. Look. Okay, so I am completely losing. I'm 4 points behind here. I mean, that is losing. The issue I have is if I move my queen, which is attacked, white just takes here, and then goes rook to f1. And as you can see, he's winning this knight, and that's just too much. 2 exchanges up. So I had to try and complicate matters, and this is where my opponent went wrong. I had to play... well, d3 was the other option, but I'm losing. Okay, knight takes c2 is an accuracy. Okay, my position, I'm trying to mix it up anyway. Sometimes the best move is not always the move you should play, which is weird. You know, in a position like this, sometimes it's best to play another move that really confuses your opponent. Even if he finds the right defense, he'll win, but he might get so confused he can go wrong. D3 the computer gives is a sassy computer. I mean, look at that move, D3. It still thinks I'm getting completely stuffed here. D3, I mean, what a move. Leaving my queen on pre. I mean, come on, computer, give us a break, man. So knight takes c2. Okay, well, I was thinking here. This was a bad move, yeah. So I was thinking, instead of this move here, my opponent should have actually gone queen e2. That's a hard move to see. Just moving the queen. Okay, now if he takes on c2, which I thought he'd play. Oh, no, he did. Okay, if he takes there now, then we have this check. This was one thing. And if he moves his king back, then I can come here. And this, again, this is a real mess because my queen is coming into f5 with check. My rook is coming down here. And who knows is better here? Actually, computer now thinks I'm a lot better. So it wasn't that bad. The only move that maybe my opponent missed was after knight takes c2. This really weird move. There's so many pieces on pre. He can take a knight. He should actually avoid everything and just move his queen. I mean, what a move. What a move. And what about d3? So, oh, you saw it. So d3. And now it gives just rook takes d3. Oh, Lava Round is the person I play. Good game, by the way, Lava Round. And after this one... well, I think you're winning here. I think you're simply winning this position, no? It looks very good. It looks very good. Okay, well, let's have a look at the rest of the game. So I think the way the game went now, it's kind of king c1 is excellent. Okay, well done. It says it's a draw here, but I quite like my chances with my pawns coming in the position. And it seemed like I made a lot of progress around here. Okay, what was better? What? Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Why was that a mistake? And why was that a mistake? I should have gone queen c8. Ah, I missed this check. See, this is where computers are quite crafty. I missed going here, here, and here. Oh, my words. Oh, my words. I mean, e4 I played without thinking because it looks so obvious. And I'm still doing very well. But it would have been mate in 2. I missed mate in 3. But sometimes... the backwards moves are quite hard to see. That's my excuse. Not one of the best played games I've played, but it was very interesting, and that sometimes is even more important. Queen c8, yeah. Queen c8 was a killer. But, yeah. Okay, so now queen e3. But, I mean, this is a very hard position for white to play, because as you can see, I think I am winning. With my pawns being so strong here, this is a very hard position. I got a little bit greedy here. Okay, that's so many blunders. Okay, because I could have gone queen c8. I still could have gone this move, which I didn't see again. Okay, but now I'm still winning, of course, around here. Get the bishop back in the game. Queen, oh, another blunder. Blimmin' heck, computer. It's horrible. Sometimes it's horrible watching games with a computer because the computer just tells you how bloody rubbish you are. This is like, you're crap. You're crap. That move's crap. That move's crap. Imagine if this was a real human. You know, you're analysing with a human. Imagine this. I show my game to someone, like, let's say, down the pub. And every time I make a move, the guy I'm showing the game to goes, that's crap. That's really bad. That's a blunder. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, really bad move. Oh, you could have gone mate in 2. Oh, disgusting. Horrible move. You'd be like, shut the hell up. Go away. You know, you'd be, I need another beer. Get the hell out of here. So, okay, what should I have played there? Okay, what should I have played? I should have gone d4, but this is still winning. When it's a blunder and I'm still +3, it's still okay. There's a lot of mistakes going on here. Excellent move, apparently. Okay, and now, okay, look at that, another blunder. Oh my words! And of course here, well, it's obviously game over. I mean, how can that be a blunder? I mean, rook f3 is no better. I mean, that's just a longer way to prolong the pain, isn't it? Queen takes g2, and my opponent can resign. Oh dear. Anyway, well, I think that was a very interesting game, guys. So thank you very much to Zorboss, who is in the chat as well. And we've basically come to the end of my stream today. I'm going to be streaming at the same time tomorrow. Yep, you can see below when I'm streaming next. And I think there's going to be quite a lot of streaming coming up this next week. So thank you everyone who's joined in today. Again, if you want to support me, then do follow this channel. That's free for you to do. So just follow me. That does help. Do subscribe if you can afford it. It's a great way. And go and check out the shop as well, you know, because at the shop, and I'll just give you the web link to it. Go and see what kind of products we have there, because that's a good way to support me. And you also get something in return. You get something that you can learn. You know, you can learn some chess, some openings with lots of the DVDs there. And don't worry, it's not just me who's made the DVDs there. There are other presenters, in case you're sick of me by now. All right, well, have a great Saturday, everyone. I hope you all enjoy yourself on this Saturday, and I will be back soon, and tomorrow, same time tomorrow. So I hope to see you tomorrow when I'm streaming again. So goodbye, and enjoy your Easter as well. Have a great Easter, everyone. Goodbye for now.